Hi, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today's video is all about preserving or storing the harvest. We can speak about fresh herbs like this rosemary and how we dry it by either hanging it upside down, letting it dry, or putting the leaves in a dehydrator, and when it's dry we put them in jars, and then that goes to the kitchen cupboard. But I mostly want to focus on the abundance of these cherry tomatoes that we have. So this video will be centered around tomatoes. So harvest season is here, but what do we do with our abundant harvest? How are we going to make this last? The family and I try to eat as much fresh of the produce as possible, but we can only eat so much, and we don't want the rest to go to waste. So today I'm going to show you, hopefully, 3 ways to preserve our harvest. And first I'm starting with these cherry tomatoes and how I am going to preserve it. So today's video is going to be centered around preserving tomatoes or canning tomatoes, having different recipes of tomatoes. And today I am going to make some roasted tomato preserve out of these cherry tomatoes. I am going to make some pasta sauces, and I'm also going to make some salsa verde, or a green salsa, from the green tomatoes and peppers that I've got here. And I've also made a fermented hot sauce from red tomatoes on a previous video, and that video you can check here. The tab will be, can't remember which side, either one of the 2 sides, but you can click the link to check that video. But I'm going to start with this first recipe with the cherry tomatoes. And what we will need is the tomatoes in a roasting. Preheat your oven to about 120 degrees Celsius. No, it's more than 100. So I'm going to make some roasted tomato preserve from these cherry tomatoes, and what an abundance of tomatoes we did get from the garden this year. And the first thing that we are going to do is to put the tomato in a nice roasting pan, and we are going to preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius, or maybe up to 200. And make sure your tomatoes have been washed and cleaned properly. I am leaving the skin on. You can remove the skin, but then it's going to be just pulp, so I'm leaving the skin on. And for this recipe we are going to then drizzle with some extra virgin olive oil. Drizzle this all over the tomatoes. I've got 2 pans over here, and we might want to make sure that we coat all the tomatoes. I'm guessing that should be enough. And I'm going to season with a bit of salt, some pepper. I'm going to add some rosemary, or you can even add some fresh rosemary if you want to as well. Amazing smell. I think that's more than enough. A bit of basil, some oregano. Then we just want to make sure that all the tomatoes are evenly coated. So I'm just going to mix this through. Oops, there we go, that looks about perfect to me. And then I am going to put it into my preheated oven. So while that roasts away in the oven at 180 or 200 degrees Celsius for 20 to 25 minutes, I'm going to start preparing for our salsa verde, or green salsa sauce. As for our salsa verde, I have taken green tomatoes and froze them solidly in the freezer, which is another way to preserve our tomatoes. But I want to open up some space in the freezer because it's overflowing, and actually make this into a shelf-stable produce in our cupboard or pantry. So frozen solid, and I'm going to just put them in a bit of water in the zinc to thaw, and there's about 4 or 5 times these that I've got over here, but we'll get to that later. So for this recipe, and let's test and find out recipe, I'm going to use about 6 kilograms of green tomatoes. Okay, some of them are yellow, but it will still contribute to the green color. I've got some mixed peppers. It's supposed to be green peppers, but some of them did ripen. And between my hot peppers and sweet peppers, I've got 1.5 kilograms, and then about 3 kilograms of onions. And we are just going to put that through the food processor, and then you can either cook it, but I think we are going to ferment it again. And so I'll just basically grab a handful of this, and I actually want to weigh out 1 kilogram at a time, because I need to add 3% salt, which will bring it to 30 grams of salt if we want to ferment.
Yeah.
Okay, so trusty scale. Heb je just dump the tomatoes out?
Yes.
Het is alles opgeteld. Zeker, want alles is mooi gemeet. Okay, so tar it. Then we want to measure out about 1 kilogram.
Of what?
Everything mixed. Yeah. Some green pepper.
942. No?
And about 30 grams of salt. Lucian, bring vir papa gou 'n klein bakkie.
En dan wil die heel onder, ja. Yes. Ja.
Wat is hartekoning nou?
Ek sien die swart goed af.
Nou maar as jy skaars onder is vir gesig net sommer.
Ek het die 30 gram sout uitgeweet.
Moet ek dit ingooi?
Yeah. And from there, we will pour it into our trusty fermentation vessel again. And this will be off camera.
Dus die camera afsit.
Yeah.
Kijk, die rooi knopje nie op pol. Waar jy is nie op pol.
Ek moet net eers weer die kort knoppie druk.
Hierdie kort. Blauwe.
So we've blended everything together through the food processor. It does foam up a bit, but it seems like it is slowly settling and moving to the bottom. So everything will eventually go to plan. Normally I would put this in a fermentation bucket with a bubbler, but this fermentation vessel, the lid actually broke. So we are making another plan, like I showed in the previous video as well, with cling wrap, a rubber band, and just prick it with a needle, so that the gas can escape and no air can get back into it. So basically, it's just blending your raw ingredients together. Add a 3% salt to the mixture to have a safe fermentation, and I'm just going to add a little bit of salt on the top as well to make sure that there's no bacterial growth at the top. And then I'm just going to ask Daniel to just clean the rim. Remember to leave a bit of head space because your fermentation may foam up a bit. And we just clean the rim on the inside and on top so that there's nothing bad that can grow there as well. And she does that because she's a lot more gentle than I am with fine work like that. And we use a bit of vinegar for it just to ensure that it is sterile and everything.
Okay.
Okay, piece of cling wrap, the rubber band over it. And then we take a needle or a toothpick or something just to pierce the film. Thank you, babes.
Okay.
Just one over there.
This one.
There we go. And then we'll leave this to ferment for a couple of weeks and see how it goes from there. And back to the roasted tomatoes.
Net daai weer vloer op die ys.
Ag, daardie kort hy nou eers.
Van wanneer af het hy laas gekol?
Ek weet nie. Yeah, so there are quite a few different ways to preserve your tomatoes. Sorry, I've just had this whole speech with the camera. I thought it was recording. Obviously not, and Daniel finds it very funny. But anyway, yeah, I enjoy doing it this way because it's cooked and it's very flavorful. I think you can enjoy it with so many dishes, especially pasta dishes. Yeah, in any way, but you can also pickle your cherry tomatoes in a pickle brine. Just make sure that you pierce the tomato so that the brine can penetrate the tomato as well. You can can it in, and you can add some spices and stuff to that as well, but you can can it in water. Just make sure that you add some citric acid or lemon juice so that the bacteria, when it keeps bacteria from growing. Bacteria can't grow in an acidic environment. Was die paper tel? So ek sien dit nie so bietjie. As I said, bacteria can't grow in an acidic environment. So if you can your tomatoes in water, just make sure you add a bit of acid, citric acid or lemon juice. About a tablespoon. Ek gaan die tweede pan uithaal.
Ja, so.
Oops.
En lekker.
Proef hy. Did you like it?
I think that was good.
So here we have canned roasted cherry tomatoes, and yeah, with that, preserving the harvest is more than just, preserving the harvest means more than just preserving your harvest and enjoying your garden. It is enjoying the fruit of your labor, all the time and care that you've put into the garden, the time that you've spent, and you can enjoy that all year long. Your fresh produce preserved to enjoy during the winter time and in the foods that you enjoy. And knowing that you grew healthy food, preserved in a healthy way, and that you still care for your family even after the harvest is gone. So what is your favorite way to preserve your cherry tomatoes? And yeah, maybe you can share a recipe with us as well. So we thank you for your time today. Thank you for spending time with us. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, please like and share with your friends. And yeah, feel free to reach out to us in the comment section as well. We love you, we bless you, see you soon, goodbye.
Bye.